You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day. Oh, yeah.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Bro Down Podcast. I'm Andy Smith.
And I'm Tim Fulton.
And this week on Fight Fan Weekly, what do we got?
So for Fight Fan, that's a different segment. So for Fight Fan Weekly, we're going to be starting off by talking about Ben Askren, talking about retirement after his loss last weekend.
Understandable.
Yeah, I could see it. He took two major losses.
Yeah, he also came into here, he was coming into the UFC to kind of prove that he was the best, and it's kind of hard to go for a title shot after two losses like that back to back. So I think he's looking at it like, if I'm going to get a title shot, I'm going to have to fight at least like 3 to 5 times.
Yeah.
And I don't think he needs the money. I don't think he gives a shit about popularity, like as far as that's concerned, because I think he was pretty smart with his money. So
yeah.
At this point, it comes down to how important is proving that he's the best in the world to him. And if you're questioning it,
then there's already a problem.
Well, you just got to take time and make sure. You don't want to jump into it half-assed and have a lackluster kind of a mindset.
He was also talking about how he's never really truly loved fighting. He made a statement saying that he's always loved wrestling, and this seemed like the next natural progression, and he saw it as a challenge, but he never loved it as a sport.
Yeah, it's a lot of some guys that have really high caliber say that. Anthony Johnson said that when he retired. He said, "I never loved fighting. I'm just really, really good at it."
I can understand that.
Yeah, and some guys like fighting. Chuck Liddell likes fighting.
Yeah.
Robbie Lawler, I think he likes fighting. But some guys don't relish the battle. They're athletes. They just want to go out and perform and challenge themselves. So
some people
that doesn't surprise me.
There's a subtle difference. Some people like the challenge. They love the challenge, but they don't love the actual sport itself.
Yeah, so as far as him retiring, I wouldn't be mad at him for doing it. I wouldn't want him to come back into it not knowing what he wants to do, because then I don't think he'll perform at his best. But he doesn't seem like the kind of person to do that. So I think if he's not 100% in it, he probably won't come back. So, but it's like, who do you give him after this? And how many fights is it going to take him to get to the title? Because he's not just going to stick around as a stepping stone or anything like that.
No, he's not going to do that. And
no, I don't
honestly,
think he will.
At this point, I think he has to if he does want to continue, he has to rethink his entire strategy. He took 2 serious losses in a row. Yeah,
but the first loss was a fluke. Not a fluke, but it happened in 5 seconds. We didn't learn anything from that fight.
Yeah.
He got caught in 5 seconds. We know less about what would have happened now than we did before that fight started.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
The second one with Maya, I thought he was winning.
He was winning. I don't think that's a question.
Yeah, I thought he was winning. And like we were talking about in the other breakdown, sometimes when you get those fights where two guys are really good in one area, it ends up being they battle in the other arena because they don't want to test each other's skill in that, because they're so good there.
Yeah.
So we were seeing the stand-up, and I had it scored 2 rounds to Askren going into the third.
The same way.
Yeah.
The first round, I think my memory serves, was a little bit hazier, but either way, I think that
it's easy to look, and everyone's guilty of it sometimes, but it's easy to look at the end result of a guy's performance and say like, oh, he should retire or whatever. But if you really look at it, the end result to the first one could have happened to anybody, even though it was bad, like he got knocked out bad. The end result to the second one was he lost a fight that he was winning.
Yeah, I think he was winning the third round as well, up until that moment.
He was.
He had more strikes, more power behind him, and he got the takedown up until he got
tapped. So I would say that as long as his mind is right and as long as his body is still up to performing, I think that he could still give a lot of guys some problems.
Yeah, I can see that. I can agree with that.
But we'll have to see what he decides. What we got next?
Paulo Costa is injured.
Yeah, this sucks. He had surgery on his bicep.
Okay.
That was the guy who fought Yoel Romero, that crazy slugfest where both guys should have been dead, but they weren't. They just kept coming.
That was an amazing fight.
Yeah, and he was supposed to fight Izzy, Israel Adesanya, because Izzy called him out at the end of his, win against Whitaker, and now he's injured. And the big fucking thing here is, who does he fight now?
Yeah, there was a little bit of hype with him against John Jones, but apparently Dana White said no.
They can't do that because John Jones is too big. I think because Israel Adesanya is a tall, lanky guy, but he's not that heavy. He doesn't weigh that much. He doesn't cut a ton of weight to get down to 185. John Jones probably walks around at 225.
Yeah.
So you have a 40-pound difference there of walk-around weight. So even if Israel wanted to move up to 205 or a catch weight, John is still going to have a ridiculous amount of weight on him. I just think it wouldn't be not fair, but it wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be reasonable to think that Adesanya could challenge Jones on a short-term notice. He would need at least like a year to put on that kind of weight, healthy to the point where his body could at least semi-acclimate to that extra weight and how to move and maintain your cardio.
Because what do they say? You can get up to like 3 pounds of muscle in a given month, a normal human being. So if we stick with that rate, if we assume that is a correct rate.
Yeah, I don't know if that's I don't know if that's true or not.
I read that in a book.
In a book, yeah.
I remember seeing that somewhere, so let's just throw out a Hail Mary and say that that's accurate.
Okay.
We don't know if it is. I'm not a doctor.
I'm totally fucking making this up.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
We don't know who these people are. That would only give him 2 months. That's what, 6 pounds? The rest would be...
Yeah, well, I can tell you right now, it's definitely not going to happen for this upcoming fight.
Oh, agreed.
Yeah, so... Yeah, granted, too, like some guys take longer to put on weight. I mean, some guys that have been heavier and cut down could probably gain muscle a lot faster because they've already been there before. It's, your muscle kind of has a little bit of memory where it's easier to get back to where you once were than to break the threshold the first time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this sucks, but it's like, okay, who's the top contenders? You got Yoel Romero. Well, Paulo Costa just beat him. So he's coming off a loss.
Yeah.
Then you have Kelvin Gastelum. Well, he just lost to Israel Adesanya.
So they're not going to do that rematch. Not now.
Well, I don't know. I don't know who they're going to put in there. And then you have Cannonier, I believe. He just came off that victory. He would be, but he's not that big of a name. And you're talking Israel Adesanya. So you want to put in a guy that people know.
Yeah.
So it would be a Kelvin Gastelum or a Yoel Romero. But because he just fought Kelvin in a very good fight, I think the option to put in there would be Yoel. In that weight class, unless they do some kind of catch weight or some bullshit like that. But I think the guy that you put in there in terms of who's going to draw the most pay-per-views is Yoel Romero.
Yeah, which kind of sucks for this very reason, Paulo Costa being hurt. You would want to see him in the ring, but...
Well, I think Yoel Romero is one of those rare guys who on any given night has a good chance of beating anyone they put in front of him, regardless of what their skill set is or what their matchup is, because he has... the wrestling, and he has the ability to knock anyone on the planet out.
Okay.
And he carries that power late into the fight, even when he's exhausted. So I think that if they're going to put, either he's going to hold off for this fight, but I don't know if Izzy wants to hold off. They might put him in against Yoel.
That'd be interesting to see.
So yeah, what's up next? Oh,
next up we have The Rock making an announcement at the BMF title fight.
Can you smell?
Can you smell?
I hated when he started doing that. I hated that.
My mother loved it.
I didn't. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, moms loved it. I
won't listen to this podcast because of the F word, but she likes The Rock. No, when he started doing the tongue thing, he didn't do that from the beginning.
No, he didn't.
He started doing that when he got real popular, and I was like, it was good the way it was. You don't need to throw that in there.
Look at Andrew nitpicking.
Yeah. Who the fuck am I? He's fucking...
Yeah. So what do you think? What is he going to announce?
I don't know. He's definitely not going to announce that he's going to be taking a fight because he's almost 50 and they're not going to give him a license.
100% of me wants it to happen and 0% of me is sure it's going to. That would be absolutely amazing. It won't happen.
He's also not going to announce that he's going to be opening up a promotion because the UFC is not going to give him a platform to promote off and take some of their... viewership. So it's not either of those.
What if he's going to be an announcer from now on?
That was one of my guesses, was that he was either going to be a commentator or he signed a deal with ESPN. But The Rock usually needs a fuck ton of money to do whatever he's doing. And I don't know if they have enough money to pay him to fucking alter his schedule to be on like a weekly or whatever thing where he's going to go on there. Plus, he's never commentated anything before.
Yeah, but he's not afraid to dabble into new
Yeah,
things,
but
and people would probably end up watching just for the sake of it. But
that's true. But you can be shitty at something.
You can be shitty at something, and you're right. I don't think that they would be preemptive about this. If he was to end up being an announcer, I think they would see how this goes in terms of like ratings, and if he's actually just by being The Rock going to draw in names.
It could be, it could be something stupid just to get people to be like, tune in. What is he going to say? It could be just something stupid. He could be making, marks out of us, basically, like the old wrestling term.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be upsetting.
But yeah, that would suck. But I don't know if it's going to be an announcer. He might do like 1 or 2 cards a year, but that's a very rare job that is very difficult to do because you have to know your role. You have to know when you're supposed to talk and when you're not supposed to talk.
Do you know what you just did?
What? Know your role. Shut your mouth. Yeah.
Know your role.
Yeah. If anyone should know his role, it's The Rock. But
maybe he does. You don't know.
I don't see somebody of his stature in the entertainment world taking a seat at the table in that capacity. That's just me.
Who knows?
He could be announcing something. The other thing I had thought of was a new show.
That's possible.
Maybe like The Ultimate Fighter. He's going to host it, or some kind of something to do with that, because he has been hosting the show where they it's like the fucking adult version of the Hidden Temple from Nickelodeon. It's like something like that. But yeah, I think it might be something like that.
I haven't caught that show. I now want to watch it.
I know. Legends of the Hidden Temple.
Simply because you phrased it in that way. Mm-hmm. I miss Legends. All right, now we're going to be talking about UFC 244.
Switching over to the fight forecast, ladies and gentlemen.
A little bit of rainy.
What?
Chance of meatballs. It's a forecast.
Oh, okay.
We're going to be talking about the first fight, Kevin Lee versus Gregor
Gillespie.
Gillespie. Thank you.
Okay. Kevin Lee, I never like counting him out. He's a credible athlete. I think that once he gets his place, I think an issue with him in the past has been his camps.
Yeah.
Finding the right place that knows how to coach him. I think he's a tremendous athlete, and he has every potential to win a belt one day. So hopefully everything has come together with him. Gregor Gillespie's no fucking slouch, but I think Kevin Lee, as long as everything's went good with his camp and everything, I think Kevin Lee's going to take this one.
I'm going to go with Gregor because he has stronger legs. So up next.
What, are you watching his squat videos, you fuck?
You don't know.
Okay.
You don't know me.
Derek Lewis versus Blagoy Ivanov. Blagoy?
All right, so we have Derek Lewis versus a stereotypical Russian
yeah. I believe this dude was stabbed in the heart in a street fight.
Okay, for that reason alone, I'm going to go with him.
Yeah, he's got a big, I think it was him, he's got a big fucking hole in his chest where I think he got stabbed in the heart. He looks like one of those Russians that has been through so many wars with his face.
We're going to see him walk out with like 4 polar bears as his team.
No, he looks like one of those dudes where he's only spent time in places that are really, really cold. Like his face is just always like, it just seems fucked up all the time.
Yeah, he's Russian.
Yeah. He's a pretty well-rounded guy for a heavyweight. Yeah. I think Derek Lewis is going to fucking smoke him. Okay. I think Derek Lewis is gonna tee off on him and knock him out. Just because Derek has fought a lot of high-level guys. He doesn't get nervous in there, and he has such confidence in his power that I think he's gonna make. I'd say give it a round and a half to 2 rounds, and he'll have Ivanov out of there.
Oh wow, really? You're
yeah, unless something crazy happens where Ivanov can tire him out a lot, but. Yeah. As long as Derek Lewis's back is feeling good, I think he's going to put Ivanov away.
Okay. Up next, we have Stephen Thompson versus Vicente
Luque. This one is fucking one of the most interesting ones on here because Stephen Thompson has had a bad last couple fights.
Okay.
He got knocked out against Anthony Pettis, and.
Oh, I remember that fight.
Yeah, bad.
Yeah.
And then he lost. Who the fuck did he fight before that? He lost his decision to Mike. Was it Mike Perry? I forget. But since his 2 title fights with Tyron Woodley, which were kind of boring until like the big moments.
Yeah.
But he's looked like kind of hit or miss, or I don't know what is going on with him. But this guy Vicente Luque is pretty good. Like his record, he's fought some good guys.
Has he fought in the UFC? Because I looked.
Luque?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at his stats, and they had up the last match, Stephen Thompson was a loss, and then they had Vincente was blank. I don't know why.
That's interesting. No, he's fought in the UFC before.
Yeah, maybe it was just an error and it was blank for whatever reason. But part of me, he looked super familiar. I thought I recognized him as a fighter, but when I saw that, I was like, oh, maybe. But he has like he's had a lot of matches.
Yeah, on paper, it looks like Stephen Thompson's fought the higher level competition. He's got the bigger name. It should look like he's gonna come. You know, he has the more, but I don't know because Vicente's been on a kind of a better streak than Thompson.
Yeah.
But Thompson's not stupid. He's popular. I think he kind of knows that this is a must-win for him because I think he's ranked 8th and Vicente Luque is ranked like 12th or 14th.
Yeah.
So if Luque wins, it's going to be, oh, Stephen Thompson needs to hang it up. He's not the fighter he used to be. And they're not going to give Luque the credit that he won. If Stephen Thompson wins, they're going to be like, you beat the number 14 guy. The mainstream guys are going to say that.
Oh, yeah.
So, but again,
like a lose-lose.
For Stephen Thompson to lose against somebody that's out of the top 10, he needs a win if he wants to make another run at the title here, or it's going to be a very long road back to the contendership. So,
gotcha.
I'm going to go with Stephen Thompson on this just because I like him. I want him to win, and I think that he knows what is at stake here if he loses.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
All right. We have the co-main event.
Okay.
I'm going to let you say these names.
Kelvin Gastelum versus Darren Till.
First off, how do you call it a co-main event when the actual main event is the BMF belt? I noticed that the UFC has been doing this recently where there's 2 main events.
Co-main event.
A co-main event, which I understand. There's 2 main events.
Yeah.
They're the 2 things.
Well, no, it's it's just the one before the main. It's always called a co-main event.
Is it?
On every card, co-main. It just basically means the fight before the main event.
Okay, that makes me a little bit happier because when I think, if I hear the terminology co-main event, I think like
it's not like a cooperative main event where like they're splitting the main event.
Like they're both put in the same high regard.
Like if you
That's
say
how I've always looked at it.
Yeah, like if you say it's like a co-headliner.
Yeah.
They're performing before the headline act.
Yeah, but you have some people. I know what you mean.
Yeah, I don't know why they call it co, because co means cooperative, right?
Yeah,
that's what originally you would think it was for, but they're not fighting at the same time. It's just letting you know that this is the second in line to the top.
It's a stupid term. All right, go ahead. Give us the breakdown.
The co-main.
Stupid.
Kelvin Gastelum, one tough son of a bitch, just got off that really entertaining fight against Israel Adesanya. Darren Till is moving up to 185 pounds for the first time.
Oh, okay.
This is not the first fight you want to have at 185 pounds because Kelvin Gastelum is a fucking monster. And Darren Till, even though he's a very exciting fighter, he does have some holes in his game. He got knocked out pretty bad. One of his last fights against, I think it was Woodley, or I believe it was Woodley, got starched in one punch. But, this is going to be a tough one for Till. It's his first time fighting at 185. You know, he is a big guy. Kelvin's been hanging out there for a long time. And he just had a very close fight with Israel Adesanya. So if Till wins this, though, he's immediately in the picture for title contention.
Yeah, I could imagine that.
Yeah, so this is a big win for him if he can pull it off. Kelvin, on the other hand, if he beats Till, he stays where he is. Number 2, number 1, you know, in the top 3 contender for the belt. But I think that if he wins this one, he might have to win one more before he gets another title shot, especially if Israel still has the title.
Has it, yeah.
But this one, I'd say that Till has a full fucking plate against Gastelum. Now, we don't know how much that last fight with Israel Adesanya took off of Kelvin Gastelum, how much he's still wearing that fight.
Because it wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't. But it was a hard fight. You don't know what he came out with, what he's still carrying with him as far as injuries, you know.
Or just mentality.
Yeah.
Some guys come out of these fights stronger than before.
He's one of those guys, though, he's always a fucking gamer.
All right.
Like, I'm not really too worried about that with Gastelum. I don't think Kelvin is going to be mentally broken from something like that. He seems like a type of guy who's going to come in with his fucking nuts screwed on tight.
All right, you talked me into it. I think I'm going with Calvin on this one.
Yeah. I mean, if Till wins, it's going to be by something spectacular, like a knockout or something.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if Till won a decision against Kelvin.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I'm going to go with Kelvin.
All
Especially, he's also got the 185-pound for the first time going against him, too. So, we'll see. Might be the best thing for him. It might not.
All right, last but not least, we have the BMF belt fight. Jorge Masvidal versus Nate Diaz. Finally, fighters that I actually remember and can contribute to the conversation.
Holy shit.
Holy shit.
Holy shit. When we're talking bad motherfuckers, these two are definitely there. I wish Jorge was more of a household name than he was before this came out, like Nate is.
Yeah.
Because there's a couple guys that I would say just from popularity and shit that they've said in the past, because this is more of like a...
It almost... We've talked about this
It's kind of like a who puts on the persona of like, not like a gangster kind of a fucking persona, but almost like a I will punch you in the face on the street bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
Not so much like, because when I think bad motherfucker in the cage, as far as who is the fuck, like just an animal in there, it's always Robbie Lawler. Because that dude...
Yeah, but he's also one of... You've repeatedly said he's also one of the nicest guys you'll meet.
Yes, but when he's in there, he has one of the most aptly nicknames in the sport with his ruthless. He's absolutely ruthless in there. Like he is fighting with half of his face torn off. Just
that was
like what the
disgusting.
fuck, dude. Never gives up. Always looks like he wants to steal your soul. But anyway, it's going to be Jorge versus Nate Diaz.
So who do you got?
So in this one, I don't know who the fuck I have, because Jorge, Nate's really hasn't been stopped. I don't know if he's ever been stopped, but he hasn't been stopped in a long time. He's got one of the best chins in the game. Jorge hits really hard, super fast, super athletic. Nate is not super athletic or super quick. He does have a ridiculous gas tank, and he's tough as fuck. Jiu-jitsu game is crazy. He's got solid boxing. I don't know. Both of them are going to talk mad shit. For some reason, I give all the athletic and shit to Jorge, and I think that he might be able to crack and drop Nate because he doesn't give a fuck. I don't think he's going to be intimidated. I don't think he's really going to give a shit about going to the ground with Nate. Not to say that he won't just stand up when he's there, but I think if he does go to the ground with him, he's not going to be afraid to get taken down or go to the ground with him.
Well, this is aptly named because that pretty much epitomizes bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
Someone who doesn't care about going to the ground or being fucking going toe-to-toe with Nate Diaz, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to go with Nate Diaz. I think the last time we did a fight forecast, I don't think it was one that had aired, but I counted him down and out. I was saying he was not washed up, but he had been out of the game for too long, and he came around and shocked and surprised me like no other. So I'm not going to make the same mistake twice. Diaz, you're my boy in this one.
Yeah, man. I don't know who's going to win.
You got to name a name.
I really don't know.
This is literally the show.
It is so hard for me to count out Nate Diaz. Because he has come back and won things that he should have never won.
Okay.
And Masvidal he's a tough guy and all that. He's on a fucking crazy tear right now. He doesn't give a shit. Street Jesus is in the house. But I think that Nate Diaz, I can't vote against him because of the shit that he's pulled off. I can't.
So you're Diaz.
On paper,
it
looks
Diaz.
like on paper I would have to say Masvidal, but because of the history that he's had, because of the shit that I've seen him do, I'm gonna fucking go with Nate Diaz because he's won shit he shouldn't have won.
All right, you heard it here. We are both Team Diaz.
Stockton, motherfucker.
Stockton. That about wraps it up for the Fight Fan Weekly. For you live viewers, stay tuned. We're going to come at you with a couple of what do you gots in a minute.
Yes, sir.
For those of you who are not catching this live, why don't you go down to brodownpro.com, choose your allegiance.
Yeah. Is it fuck leg day or is it fuck arm day?
Fuck
I say
leg day.
Fuck arm day. According to our poll that we took, it's all fuck arm day. No fuck leg day.
That was the wrong poll. You're thinking of the is it better to win or better to lose?
No, we're gonna pretend that this is fuck leg day. No.
Vote fuck leg day.
Do you have the results?
Do you have the results?
No, so we're gonna go with what I say.
Peace out, everybody.
You're listening to Bro Down Podcast all fucking day.